you know? Oh, this was a tomb I was trying to figure out, right? I don't remember where I was going to be. Where am I going to go? Let's just plod ahead, I guess. Hope for the best. Is that... What am I doing right now? How do I get to the map? I've not played this for a few weeks. Rifle God. Okay, well... Oh, that is the main mission, is it? I think? No, so... Oh no, the Rifle God is a side mission. So we'll talk to Etsy. Okay. I thought Etsy was online. So, if I can get to a fast travel, I can get to there. Or maybe I just have to complete this temple thing because I am already in it. I'm doing great. Love to hear it. Yeah, I've heard very good things. I've pretty much avoided watching people play Guardians of the Galaxy as well. So like, it's all going to be a nice surprise. I'm hoping for myself. But yeah, I've heard it's great. I can't wait. But it depends as well. We might play some multiplayer games with some buddies as well, so we may switch over to like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something. That didn't do anything. What am I doing? So I want to be up there. But I'm pretty sure if I jump over, that's death. I've got to get the mouth down here, right? So surely I've got to do something with this. Have I already done it? Where did I spawn in? I just jumped a lot down, didn't I? Is there something in here I need to look at? What's a guan? Oh, there's a fire there. I can do like this. No. There wasn't that one somewhere, wasn't there? Oh, fuck it. So that's a lot of fire. Maybe back up here? I really don't know. Now, this... Okay, let's give this a go. So it won't let me shoot that one. It won't let me shoot that one either. Which makes me think I have done this bit, maybe? Or I've got to stop the fire or something?
Have to find a way across.
Across where? Just here? Okay, well that was okay, but I'm pretty sure this is the way I did. This is... I'm sure this is the way I came in, you know? Yeah, why don't we shoot either of those? Maybe I've got to go around here. Okay. Speaking of my fan, I've seen the come accurate skin for Groot. Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah, I liked that they've gone. They've stepped away from. Nothing wrong with the Marvel movies, but I'm glad they moved away from that and went with like more comic type one. Okay, so that won't go that way. Why let me do it that way? Okay, so I must have been going the right way. Right? I mean, it spawned me. It spawned me like that, didn't it? Yeah, it spawned me here, I think. Maybe I just got to... Can I punch? No, didn't do it. So yeah, because I dropped down here. It's angry fire noise down here. Maybe I've got to do something about the angry fire noise. Bow and arrow didn't seem to do much fire. Should we just go for it? Maybe I can jump down there. But does that put me back? No, that'll die if I jump down there. Godspeed! Oh no. Oh shit. Ah shit! Mojo BB! Coming in hard with 49 months worth of subs now. God damn, son! Fight milk! Fight milk! Maybe I am going to go that way. Because it's facing me that way when I've spawned. I have no fucking idea. I really have no idea. How you doing, dude? Damn, good to see you, Mojo Baby.
Have to find a way across.
Right. So, pop, pop. The pot is working, but I didn't hear that sound effect, sadly. But talking to pop, pop, I've started showing my girlfriend our community as well. Enjoying it so far. That's a good sign.
Have to find a way across.
Well, I feel like you should put more into this, Lara. If you want to find a way across, maybe you should be helping me here, because I feel like I was in the right spot. Because it won't let me do any of this stuff anymore. So maybe Lara, you could give me some input. You know,
have to find a way across.
Yeah, rather than just that. But I already knew we need to get across. Maybe I'm gonna jump on here. Right. Now what does this do for me? Nothing. I'm just by this room. Let me jump in. There we go. Oh. Sweet. Hop what magnitude? Hop what? Why is there so much fire? Maybe I need to shoot him. That didn't seem to help at all, you know. So what the fuck am I meant to do? I don't think I can get out of this place. I think I have to complete this. No, that kills it. Okay, cool. Okay. Well, always starts me facing this way, which makes me think I do need to go back, but then I can't do anything back there, can I? It's like it won't let me do the thing where I can connect the wire to wire. Even up here, it should let me do it. So that's useless. I can't turn that wheel anymore.
Have to find a way across.
Nothing else lights up around here. Apart from that, which I can't do anything with either. Now I can. Okay. Alright, sick. Okay, that did not last long. I probably should have tied it.
Boom shakalaka!
Indeed. Couldn't have said it better myself. No. Okay, well, shit. Am I gonna come here? I don't think I can. I mean, that stops that fire for a little bit. So I probably came in that way, I'm guessing. Little scarabs.
Have to find a way across.
Can shoot that, but that does nothing because I already have it where I want it. Oh shit! I thought she was going to make that. My problem is I'm not quite... I'm assuming the game does want me to go back this way. Because I'm being faced that way. So I get the thing from here.
Have to find a way across.
Yeah, but it's not easy, Lara. Not easy at all. Maybe I was just being a bit of a dildo. Maybe I was just being a bit of a dildo. First time for everything, hey? No, I can't reach that. Yeah. Oh. If there wasn't a minute cooldown on the sound effects, I'd say feel free to repeat that one. yeah, I'm a little. That's a little brutal realization. You'd go for sack if you could. No, but you would. Scurry, my Lara. Scurry. Tie this one to that one, and then it should stay low enough for little old Lara to Spider-Man her way across. Oh shit, it's hot. Oh shit, it's hot.
That's deadly. I'll have to find a way to stop
Oh
it.
no shit, though. Fire's deadly, is it? Jesus Christ. Jesus. That made it worse. Now there's more fire. Lara! What's this one doing? If I shoot you, you're not gonna... Do I crush you? Bash you?
Got to move up.
Alright, moving on up now. Burn down, getting out of the darkness. Yeah, light shines on my blah blah blah. Blip blam jump, light shines, blam blam. Where am I going? Do I just jump to left and hope for the best? Nope. No, that's no. What's the point in a man down if you can't kick him with a you suck? That's, yeah, I can't actually argue with that. Oh, come on, you put me right back here. She had a new voice command, they could have let me just stay over there. Quick, scurry, scurry, scurry! Oh, shit. Scurries because it's scary, you know what I'm saying? Okay, around the world it goes. Where it stops, I 100% know. I've done it like 4 times now. Go down. Right. Smack bang wall up. Lara's a trollop. Get him. Nah, she's a good girl. She's a good girl. So I do want to get on top of that. I think I did want to jump across, you know. No, you fucking slag. I need to climb up a bit. There we go. That's it, Gal. You got this. A little bit higher. Right, you got this. You got this, gal. You got this, gal. Go! Ooh. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Save point. Yeah, progression. Hold sprint. Alright. Didn't do it well enough. That's what I've learned from my experience so far on this part of the mission. Go! Oh shit. Jeez. Yes! It does seem a little bit deadly. Yeah. Good thing she's wearing her anti-deadly trousers. Did you know she's wearing trousers? She's wearing a skirt. Like skirt, you know. Like that noise. Right, that's a zip line. Cool. That's good for activities later if we get a chance. Oh, is this where the fire was going? Oh, what's going on? It's all rumbly. Oh, hello. Right, straight into the alligator's mouth. Alright.
Now what? Through the door, I guess.
I guess. Jeez, be a bit more happy, you know? Craft incendiary shotgun shells that wreak havoc by... Oh. That's cool. Incendiary shotguns are they're a barrel of laughs. Oh, you're running now, aren't you? That's it. There we go. There we go. And jump and crouch. Crouch and scratch. Are you serious? I've got to go like... Ooh, fucking Spider-Man for the win. Spider Lara, is an archaeologist, Spider Lara. Probably have to go quite a bit lower. Now we're there, she's a blower. Oh yeah, here comes Spider Lara. Have I watched The Righteous Gemstones? No, but that sounds familiar. Is it film? Who's it by? It definitely sounds familiar.
Where the crab belongs.
Crabs belong in the sea, dummy. What's that? Who's that? Oh, come on.
Oh shit.
There she is, boys!
Just like you planned. That's super mean. Wait, how do I do the incendiary shotguns? I don't think the incendiary bullets, sorry. Die, man. Oh, God, I hate this shit. Just hoping it doesn't kill me, because I can't be bothered. There we go. Do you know what? Can I just switch to mouse and keyboard for this bit? Yeah, I fucking can. Sensitivity's a bit loopy, but... Oh, there's a nerd there. Load it up for fun. More nerds? Oh, shit, nerd! Son of a bitch. And I picked the wrong thing. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have switched. Oh, that's why I had to switch. Oh god, the sensitivity on the mouse is really high. Shit. Don't know what melee is. Can't risk this. Oh, fuck me. Oh, hello. How do I, heal? Yeah, sweet. Son of a bitch. Could we all not just settle down? I'm feeling like I just have to go for it, yeah. Oh, who shoots a lady on a rope? Oh, yeah. It's a comedy show you're only 2 seasons in, you've seen it like 5 times. Okay, I might have to check it out, man. I've been watching a show called King Gary recently. It's pretty good and fixed my life to, oh no, melt myself down to the soundtrack for it. King Fire! Pretty good. Oh, I'm getting obliterated here. Fucking, hey, Daniel San fan! Hey, Tinsley, dude. What you got? What you got? You son of a bitch. There's too many fucking memory buttons I have to press. What's heal? F1. Go. Yeah, crazy pills. I'll give them the crazy pill bar arrows. They stand still. Oh, did I let go of that already? Bollocks. I was holding on to it too long. Oh, motherfucker. Motherfucker. Was that not one of my crazy pill ones? Okay, now I'm on my crazy pill ones. Here, nerds. Fuck me. Yeah, let's just go back to guns. You were there a second ago, Lara. Go. No, what are you doing? Why is it so wobbly? Is there an earthquake? Stand like right in the open as well. Bloody hell, I wasn't sure if they were just like ever spawning. Alright, what you got for me? What you got? What you saying? What you got? What you got? What you got, fam? What you got? Ah shit, I broke the ancient monument. Oh hello, what you got? No, what you got? What you got? Alright, sick. What you got? What you got? What you got? What you saying? What you saying? What you got? No stone unturned. These people really don't want me to put crabs in their neighbourhood. They do belong in the sea. I'm not sure why we're putting them here. Alright, you right?
Abby, I'm at Zapakna's temple. Trinity was waiting for me. They stole the crab to lead me into an ambush.
My god, are you okay?
Yeah, we're
I'm
fine.
fine.
We
and
died
the crab
like 8
is
or
back
9
where it
times, but we're fine
belongs.
now.
Oh, that's such a relief. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's hope you returned it in time.
Alright,
Tell
well, I
Jonah
mean, if
I'm
I
on my
didn't,
way
it's not my
back.
fault. You know, at least I tried. What's she doing? Now nothing. That's what she's doing. This is ISO cold ooting corpses. ISO cold ooting corpses. It's ice cold shooting corpses. Like, you got some change from... Oh, looting corpses. They got change from... Well, no, they're not going to use it. Waste not, want not, you know. As Benjamin Franklin often said. It is America Day as well, by the way. Happy any ungrateful colonists. Yeah. It's so cold looting. Yeah, there we go.
All full up. Can't carry anymore.
You could. You got hands. Hey, fireplace. Oh yeah, that's not what I wanted. Missing gear. Oh, I can hear a boar or something. Missing gear my ass. I've got a shotgun. Is that motherfucker coming for me? Where is he? Can hear you. Get out of here. I'm gonna have a sit at the camp. Okay. 3 skill points. I don't really. Every time I'm like, I don't know what I want to put. The skill points aren't that good on this, if I'm being honest. I haven't really needed to craft that much in this game, so the craft element's just been like, nah, bun it. Fear arrow effect lasts for a longer period. Endurance mixture reduced damage from enemy melee range attacks. Endurance mixture. What the fuck's endurance mixture? I don't think I have endurance mixture. If I do, I haven't been using it. Vestige stuff. Use focus. Stuff. Cure lure traps. Poison grenades could be good, I guess. Craft concussive shells. Temporary stuns enemies. Useful return and concealment. Okay, increase amount of man-made crafting resources. Maybe that one? Increase the chance of finding rare animals. Gain the ability to harvest start poison from spiders and stuff. Large capacity ammunition resource. That's just now available. Oh. Yeah, right. Get that one. Do I have to hold it? Purchase an adjacent skill. I don't want to purchase an adjacent skill. Because I have to use 2 points to get that one. Motherfuckers. And I'm on the last level, really, so, I mean, I don't really need any of this. Fine, I'll find some more animals. And then they won't let me have that one. Motherfuckers. I have to get crafting to beef up off skill arrows. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. A lot of time I'm like, well, I want to do some of the cooler shit. I don't really care for this stuff a bit. If they had cool stuff to craft, different story, but... I don't know, it doesn't felt like there's been that cool of stuff to craft on this game, really. Yeah, nah. I can upgrade it, alright. So, what's that? Accuracy. Oh, I could do with that. And ammo capacity. Sweet. Can't get that now. I only had one hide. And got some raw hide, unfortunately. We can upgrade this a bit. What do you want, mate? There we go. Have a lovely day. And that's it. Right. What we got? So we're going to go into the final mission. We should put on some cool glad rags. The old Tomb Raider's fun, but they actually got boring quite quick. Then we just buy consumables, yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool. Exiled Fox. It's pretty cool as well. It's got like a metal bracer. Scales of Q. Army. Craft fitness. I mean, dragon scales is cool. Health regeneration, file, and stumble resistance. I'm gonna keep that one. Yeah, I can rock with that. And fast travel. Let's go do the actual final mission. Yeah, go on then. Okay, so let's get to it. Just having a bit of a walk to get to the desired location. Bit of a walk. Yeah. I think she stopped to get some like donuts. Which I can't fault her for, you know. He doesn't like donuts. You're right, mate. I did some stuff, but was it what you wanted?
Thank you again, Laura.
Oh, no worries.
This means so much to the future of Paititi.
For whatever TTs I can help, I will always do what I can. Nerd.
I don't have enough space for that.
Oh, is there like a shopkeep or something I can sell my wares to? Because I'm not going to need it now, am I? Are you a shopkeep?
I freed your friends, and
Oh,
there's
sweet.
more good news.
There we go. That was a mission I
Colqui
did.
is alive. He was in the lead when the others were surrounded. He shouted a warning and ran away.
He lost a 2-0 lead.
Excellent.
Lost it 3-2.
There is one concern.
Got complacent in the
You
second
may have
half.
a
It always
traitor
happens,
in
you
the
know.
rebellion.
I know we do. I learned who he was while you were gone, and I'm going to personally see he gets what he deserves.
I feel like this guy's body's very
Right.
plain. Like, he could
Here,
do with some, like,
Take this
tats.
as a thank you.
Or,
I appreciate all your help.
you know, scarf.
If you're right about Colqui, he would have gone to the mountain safe house. Can you go find him?
What was Wenger doing
Let him
bringing
know we
Walcott
have
on so
retreated to
early?
Skull Cave.
The thing about Arsenal was always
I'll
try and
find
walk it in. Let's use roll plus donut sounds like a time well spent. It really does, actually. Oh, hello. These things can do stuff. Alright.
If the traitor knows about the cave, Colqui's in danger.
Alright. Oh, well, you want me to do more stuff here now? What is your problem, mate? What about you? Did you want me to do like a mission or something?
Thank you again, Lara.
You're okay.
The rebellion must have the shield of the Age Maker.
They must. I mean, they want
I
to.
just
don't
hope we're
think they
not too
must.
late.
I don't know. Do you have a watch on? Do they not have a shopkeeper around here? Maybe it's this box. No. I want my wares. Should I just go start last mission? I can always come back and play this game and do the side missions. I can put in a list of like 600 other games that I've said, yeah, I'll go back and do the side missions and stuff once I complete it, and then don't. This is why I generally do side missions first. I can't be bothered now. I want to move on to Guardians of the Galaxy. So, until the story is complete, and then I can fast travel again. Let's rock it. This kid is about to drop some real shit on me, though. Once this kid talks to me, I'm never going to be able to go back, apparently. Yeah, go on then.
How is the plan coming together, Lee?
We have options.
Okay, cool.
Uchu?
Hopefully it's not one of those games that if I did more side missions, I'd have got more options.
Kukulkan's army will follow the Sack Bay to the Great Stone Bridge to reach the pyramid. If we approach them head-on, we have the best chance to intercept them, but we could easily be overwhelmed.
No, don't worry, you got this.
If we go in this way, it'll be more secure. But our timing would have to be perfect.
That's one thing people say about me.
Slip through our fingers.
Perfect timing.
Can we do both? If we approach head-on, I can go around the other way and act as a sniper.
Have you used a sniper pistol in this whole game, Lara? No.
They'd be trapped.
No, you haven't. So why would you think now's a good time to start?
No approach is without risk, but I believe this is the best
Oh yeah,
option.
forget he's king.
Good. Then, on your order.
Like he fucking knows anything.
Gather the troops. Let's go.
He's basically Simba. Oh shit, the lights are on the brink in this cave. That's a bit of a shame. Must be real hard to get an electrician out. I had to swing and shit to get in here.
This is where we part.
This is where we part, or is this the part where the game just glitches out a lot? Because nothing is syncing up right now.
I want you to have
What
this
is going on?
for luck.
I'm sorry, but is it some sort of witchcraft thing that
Actually, I can't.
glitches time and space?
After today, the eclipse will no longer represent us.
This is... what's going on?
We keep the sun, but you remove the shadow.
This isn't a Ubisoft game.
Thank you.
Sorry, Ubisoft. Sorry, I agree with you, Mojo.
Be careful, Jonah.
You too, little bird.
That... It's like we're watching the mouth sync for a different... like, dialogue. I hope everything goes back to normal in a moment. Okay. I mean, a moon-shaped charm. He could give me, like, a better gun. Probably gave you the French version. Yeah, I was wondering, yeah, maybe if it was a different, like, language for the mouths than it was on the actual dialogue. Wasn't that a nice enough place just to get out? This looks horrible down there, if I'm being completely honest. Surely all this hot water is pretty nasty as well. That's it, Lara. Keep holding your breath. She could go to the Olympics, if I'm being honest. She's or Ripley's, believe it or not. She could definitely do a bit of both. Oh no, keep a bit higher, Lara, because that seems to be like lava water. And I don't know too much about lava water, but I believe it's pretty hot. How do I go down? I don't know the down button. That's the issue. It's B. Alright. Can I go back up now? It's hot down there. Where are we going? Camera. Sort me out, mate. Talk to me. Oh, we're not where I need to be yet. There we go. Oh, straight out of the water there. Jesus. This game feels like it's getting all sorts of glitchy in these cutscenes.
Unbelievable. Jonah, I made it. I see the bridge.
Unbelievable.
Shit!
They blew the bridge. We'll find another way around.
God, that was
Okay.
the whole plan,
Do
man.
you see that red smoke?
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out. Unuratu said that the Crimson Fire was her destiny.
How would she know?
Commander, this is Cardinal 2. The bridge has been taken
The thing about Destiny is you don't often know what it is until you've reached it, right?
Cardinal 2, here's our eyes. Copy that. Remember,
You think you know what your destiny is, but often your destiny manifests in different ways. Oh lordy. We can make a jump with our motherfucking crafter.
More helicopters.
Yep. But then after a certain amount of helicopters, extra helicopters don't really make much of a difference, right?
Your shield. Trinity's
so you're
hunting
not.
them.
Oh, hello.
Cardinal 8, visual on hostile.
Oh, I thought I was going to drop down there. because you use French. I'm not. And oh shit, Kyle baby! 57 months now, my man! Thank you very much, Sharky dude. It feels weird still calling. I'm trying to get used to calling you Sharky rather than Kyle all the time. But Kyle just rolls off the tongue. You know? But thank you very much, dude. That's very nice of you. 57 months. That's a lot of fucking months. Then you start tangling up with each other and shit. Yeah, actually, that's true, yeah. The correct name is now Young Dr. Fossil Sharp. Young Dr. Sharp Fossil, even. That makes sense. Alright. I'm gonna call you Yudus for short.
This is Cardinal 8. Visual on hostiles. Changing course heading to 105.
Oh, not 105. Ah. It's only a hair skip away from 104. And that's one of the best spots, man.
Establish kill zone and hold them off the temple at any cost.
Yudus works great too? Okay, nice. Sweet, sweet.
Good progress in all sectors, but we are losing a lot of people. All units, stay away from the walls.
I'm just gonna have a swing.
Overlap your fields of
If
fire.
it provides fortuitous, nice. If not, we've had a nice little swing, and that's really the main thing that matters. Oh, we got this. Look at this shit. All fucking day.
The source of the smoke. I can reach it.
Alright, sweet. Well, is there anything to nick up here first? Nope. Whee! Ah. A
In
freak.
the crimson fire smokes, seek your mirror. Was this Unaratu's destiny?
Mm. How you doing post-stream, Kyle, dude? Or you just... I've seen your face. You don't need to put the mask back on. I'm just... It's more the lack of lips that's getting me right now. Pretty large amount of scarring. Joker smile.
You're the crimson fire.
Are you the Crimson Fire?
I think
You
we're
don't.
supposed to work together.
I mean,
Defeat
lips help
Kukulkan.
talk, but you don't necessarily need them to talk, because you could just talk like Michael Caine. If you talk like Michael Caine, you don't actually need your lips, you see. Shark shell.
You shall.
Look, you're Lara. If this is like one of those take your place things, I don't think I could cut my top lip off. No, in fact, I know I couldn't. It would, yeah. Okay. Now cut your lip off. And apparently just wear belts. Lol. Like a... What's happening now? So the Descent creatures are our friend now? And we're about to make some sort of unholy alliance with Descent creatures? To stop Trinity? The war people? Where are the war people gone? Are war people not just dropping bombs on the Descent creatures? Lara Croft, speech, language pathologist and queen. Yeah, that's true. It's a pretty basic storyline. That's true. I can't shoot any of these bastards. And now I get an upgrade point. Sorry, camp up here. Alright, let's go see the fans. Well gone. Yeah, it's me. It's me. I'm not taking autographs right now. Sorry, no. Yeah, we got a tour coming up in a few weeks. Yep, yeah. I thought I told you to fuck off. You're not welcome. Security, please escort this man out. He was the one throwing eggs at the tribute act last time. Get out of the way. Who's got my egg and cress sandwich, please? Lara doesn't perform without an egg and cress sandwich. You've got my sandwich. Okay, I'll get up there in a second. Hey, how you doing? Hey, nice to meet you. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh, my man, I'm glad you were here. I was worried. I think that means open the circular thing in my body. They probably don't call it a door. So we like besties now? Oh shit! Look, they're all off. It's like the swimming pool's just opened. I can't wait to dive in. They are in a volcano or something. Right, yeah, go spread the blood of the innocent, I guess.
Jonah, change of plans. I'm bringing reinforcements.
Yeah, I'm bringing freaks. I'm bringing real life
Me
freaks.
too.
Oh Jesus!
Commander,
I know where to jump to.
she's with the E-shield. She's what? Don't get distracted. Take her out.
Yeah, this is a bit weird. Oh, okay. Actually, that's quite cool that guy showed me where to go.
They're everywhere. We need backup now. Sending reinforcements your way.
I want to see the carnage that the scent creatures are doing. Hurry, Lara! Hurry! We're missing all the blood!
This is Zeta Team. High Council in position. Holding
Like that,
perimeter.
their queenies went for that. Oh shit! They got a flying tank copter. Tank copters are the most dangerous weapon known to man. Thankfully, they just split it in half like dummies. If they'd kept that as the one item of war, there's no way we could have survived that. Who you fooling? Yeah. I was gonna say, why not just shoot us? You got like 20 helicopters. Ah, poor Bernie. He was only 12 years from retirement. I'm glad this mask doesn't affect our vision too much, you know. Lara, come on, don't be screwed. It's just bullets and breaking stuff they're climbing on. Really, when you think about it. Why doesn't she have her gun out? Why are you waiting and looking? Carry on. I feel like I should have my shotty out. Can I take my shotty out, please? I can skip this. Why would you skip?
Jonah,
Hey, thanks for coming out.
we did it. We've cleared the way to the temple.
Cleared? Really? Because, I mean, there's a helicopter.
Where's the Mingus?
He's inside the temple.
Oh.
We're so close.
You're going to eat him, aren't you? Ah, Tamanaka, yo.
Thank you, Kukulkan, for this gift of renewal.
You're welcome.
We are prepared to receive your power.
That's nice of you. Uh-oh.
They're with you?
Time for like a Marvel vs. Capcom type beat 'em up.
This ritual is mine to complete. We've chosen wrong. It's all wrong.
No. It was always theirs. Give us the box.
What's in the box?
I must protect my
Honestly, because if you told me earlier, I do not remember. It's been a few weeks since I played this game.
Not just you.
And I don't remember that much when I do play.
Together.
Well, even not playing, I don't remember that much. Yeah. Oh no, it's gonna rain.
headstrong to be.
Why wouldn't you just bring guns? Go on, Lara. I was gonna say, there's no way she was gonna do that now. She looks sad. Yeah, now they got guns. See, that's a much better way to kill descent creatures. Oh shit, you're my buddy, sorry. Hopefully there's some more of them sweet ass feather masks in the box. Yeah, true, yeah, for shorties. Oh shit, that's right next to me. Oh, you're not going to shoot the lights out so you can see what you're doing? There we go, that's a bit better. How do I get grenades and shit up again? I really can't remember. Apart from the Queen. We ran out of bullets for the Queen.
I'm surrounded, out of ammo. No, please, no!
I was expecting that to be way worse. It looked like she just put her hand on him. Oh, lay your hand on my hole. Run your fingers through my soul. All right now. And when the baby
Jonah, Rock is dead.
put your
I'm going
hands
after
up,
Mingus to
put your
stop the ritual.
hands up. That was a song. Alright, well you do that. I'm gonna have a nice little campfire rest. Just hear screams in the background. Let's have a nice little relax together. Guru had actually killed him even though he asked her not to. No honour amongst archaeologists. That's how it goes, man. Someone sounds like they're having either a really good or really bad time in the background. I can't really tell. I don't think it's either, actually. I think they're just disgruntled. Having a bit of a disgruntled time. Probably because, you know, their leader and queen or whatever. Or, I don't know. Prophet, I don't know, or something. She's just resting while they're all dying. Oh, well. Oh, bye.
This is Zeta Team. The High Council is being overrun. We need a...
What do you need? What the fuck's an... Oh. If this guy wants to progress in his career, he's going to need to learn how to communicate better. Hey, that's convenient. I can jump on that. Oh, Lordy.
Council's been slaughtered. Commander Rourke, we need your orders. Rourke's dead too. What? Then who the fuck's in charge?
Whoever wants to be, I guess. You guys saw it. Why can't I hear their radio? Do I have it on their radio or something?
Fall back! Fall back!
Or did they just have it on, like, obnoxiously loud? Am I meant to jump down there? I don't know.
Still perimeter! Everyone dead! Just get the fuck
Oh,
out
dead
of
Jim.
here!
Oh, okay, that let me do that. That's cool. I'm pretty... I'm pretty... That's one I'll leave it there. Sweet. This destruction is pretty convenient for her because she's kind of just getting haphazardly into this, you know. Oh shit! Whoa! That was her. That was a bit close. She's not even phased by this stuff like crumbling over. watch out for the bricks and the entire wall caving in that you're currently climbing on there. Oh, I thought I was close enough to get those. Oh. I wasn't close enough to get them. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if that would kill us or not. It did. I don't know if anybody was, doing this for their feces. Like a university type dissertation, not like. Has place passed any health and safety inspections? I don't think they even had them. You know, I reckon they probably paid off the council, and they were like, yeah. Just remember us in the future, you know? I'm sure that's what they were like. Okay. Alright, am I going up or down? I really don't know anymore. Can't quite see what's down. Oh, this was right? Okay, that was incredibly confusing. Cutscene.
In the darkness he raised the world we have known.
I could get him an arrow into him.
Shadow back.
If I'm playing on where some requests to Spotify can go free channel points redeemed. Oh really? Ooh. Is that what you were using today, Cal? Because that would be cool. I have a much better playlist on my Spotify than I do on my YouTube and stuff now. And yeah, my bot it's working today, but it's really temperamental at the moment. Okay, shit, nice. Do you mind this? Ooh, he's all glowy now. Could you Discord me over the program name? So I'll probably get on that. That's fine. So just shoot an arrow for him, even though he's all mouldy.
Destroy any who would destroy your power and potential.
How'd you whistle? Over it, mate, over it.
Guide us. Help us reshape and create.
Help you to shave.
And elevate.
Over here, bud.
Those icons. I have to release the energy trapped inside them.
Let the shadow back. Let the light shine again in the world of our creation.
That is so hard to aim with a controller. How do I heal? I've forgotten how I heal. Is it down? Is it left? Yeah, no, that's the wrong thing. Wait, why am I using that? Yeah.
Any who would destroy your power and potential.
Why am I doing stealthily in this bit? I might as well just run around and get them, right? I need 2 cents of these.
I can feel the energy emanating from those icons.
Ah, I see.
Guide us.
What's most dangerous joystick? Yeah, for real. Yeah, thanks for me. Nice one, dude. I appreciate it. Hello. He went like Tarantino direction with that shot. Oh shit! Since when did you guys start being violent? Wrong button.
Hey, we take control of our destiny. Everyone's at stake. Get the horse train.
Okay. You can't see me now. I'm all muddy. Thank you. Thank you very very much. Thank you.
Stealthy.
Oh shit, he's super emissive.
Nothing would stop me. Remaking the world.
Good dodge.
Today, we take control of our destiny.
Oh, hello. That seems a bit unfair. Could you fuck up? Alright, nerd.
I thought you were smart.
Why did it switch me to this? Oh, I have no, what? So I have to fight arrow? Oh shit, there you are. Finish you up or some shit? What's happening here, mate? I feel like if I get too close I'm gonna die though, right? Oh no, guess not.
My whole life. You can't match a god.
Well, I saw God's knife, so...
I have allowed you to live. No more.
Oh shit. Motherfucker, who did that one? Oh, you're here. Illegal. I was gonna say, how did my thing not just kill her? Put it in your other hand so you get lightning powers and all that.
Mine to protect, not yours.
Oh, that guy's just frozen in time, apparently. Oh, I have no arrows, but that's... This is the third time, man. There we go.
Attack all you want. A gun will only make me stronger.
Really? It's looking human. I'm looking dead though. Oh shit, no, I'm alive. Now slice it down. Oh, hello. Scared of me. There we go. That's it. Go to sleep, buddy. Go to sleep. Nice favourite dagger.
Protect by it.
Oh, like you did. Jesus.
Please. Please, Sarah.
I will.
We're super emissive. But never dismissive. No shit, we're in a Matrix.
To claim her treasure, the adventurer, Lara Croft,
Oh, that's us.
must outwit the king.
Outwit the king? I think the king might have something to say about that.
My loves, will you hold still for a second?
Oh, shit, she's trying to paint and you guys are dancing over like that? Jesus. How cool that we were in the Matrix 5 minutes into this game.
As you?
I'm pretty sure you did say that.
Your
Yeah.
dad.
Where are we?
Hawaii.
With this key,
Hawaii?
civilized, we can
That's where bananas come from.
without witness, fruity.
If
Or
you
the
had
country that
power,
bananas come from.
what would you do?
My brave girl, who is not expecting a jaguar attack.
But we have expected Jaguar attacks at some points in this game.
Where shall we go next for our real adventure? I hear the Antarctic is lovely this time of year.
Yeah, go on then. Go see Santa.
No, well then perhaps the salt flats of Utah.
Oh, Richard. I know
Thanks,
where
Chris.
we're going. You do? Hawaii.
Oh yes, yes, that could be really nice.
Yeah, she did basically just declare her intentions to commit
Goodbye, Dad.
fast treason.
No,
I mean, they're already
you're
dead.
my
Move on, Jesus. Spider-Man or Seaspare, seen other bitches about it.
Well, I think that can be arranged.
Oh.
By your new schedule.
Hawaii, right? Yeah. Tomb Raider's been watching Kyle's streams. Well done, that power gave you a memory. Can we give her the power now? Let her take over the world? She's all creepy and shit. Santa's in the north? Ah. I knew it was one of the two. He probably goes on holiday to the south though. Similar climate, but a change of pace.
Otherwise the world dies.
Sacrifice a god.
The sacrifice is my duty. But if my training fails me, the Crimson Fire will guide me and hold me to my promise.
Oh wait, she's talking to us right now.
I like this world.
Santa's in the
It's not
heart.
perfect.
Santa's in the heart.
Now,
Santa's in the heart. Santa's in the heart.
The eclipse
Heart is
will
in
no
the
longer
soul, soul's in
represent
the
us.
music. Yeah, oh yeah.
We
What's
keep
music
the
in?
sun, but you remove the shadow.
I guess lots of shops. So we're being sacrificed, hey?
Please,
Funny into a game, hey?
please, Lara.
I will.
Oh, no, you're not allowed to kill me. Gutted. It's music. They have music in several movies now. I didn't realise that. I know they did in that one, you know, ba 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 ba. You know that one, yeah. Didn't realise I'd done it more than one now. That's cool. I hope they don't try and make it a thing though. It'd get a bit cheesy if they have music in like every movie, right? You know, like Jesus. Jesus. Two days later. Oh, what a weird dream that was I had 2 days ago. I'm glad I'm still in Hawaii with my family. What a day. That was a little Lara.
Unuratu. My mother. A warrior.
I'm not currently streaming with
Rebel.
Bakura, but I may well be later.
Queen. She will be venerated for generations. I miss you.
She's right there, bruv. Oh, back in our scuba gear thing. I don't know who Korvac
Now,
is, but I agree
They will
completely.
heed her spirit to reunite Paititi.
Well, that's nice of them.
Thank you.
Oh, that's a good luck charm though. She doesn't need it. She's dead. God, Laura's so she's so
So
dense
head
at
back
times.
to
Jesus.
Kwakiaku tomorrow.
Could you imagine being that dense?
Really?
I bet she even has a like
Missing
a
the
figure
jungle.
that you could
Often such
apply
a
to her
elusive
to say how
fish
much
tree.
density she has. Who even has that?
Headed to the coast for a few days.
I'm glad.
What about you?
I think I'll stay here for a while longer.
Why?
And restore a few more artifacts.
Oh yeah, so she can nick more artifacts basically, yeah. Oh, and I have more side missions to do if I ever wish.
So what will you do?
Probably play a different game.
No. Etzli will help
Again,
me
I'll
figure
say I'll
it
do
out.
side
He'll
missions
Let me know what Paititi needs
And just
to
never
rebuild.
come back to it.
Wow.
I'm done searching. I want to be around the living.
Then go to a fucking city.
Don't you
It's
have
fair
to
of them.
pack or something?
Now you are stuck with me till tomorrow.
You're welcome to stay as long as you wish, Lara.
But not you,
Safe travels.
Jonah. Yeah, fucking hell.
Once Paititi is restored, perhaps I can join you and learn more about the world beyond Paititi.
Anytime.
Nah.
You just say the word.
You're a king
told
here,
you.
but you need a
he
legal
wants
guardian in most other places.
So, Jonah, Lara
I don't
told
even
me
know
you
if you're
have a
allowed to fly
girlfriend.
on your own as a kid, if I'm being honest.
We will come to the wedding.
Whoa.
Etzli, why don't you show me the plans for the new town?
Yes.
Hey, there we go. We raided tombs and avoided wounds. That's how we do. Yeah, living on the best. But dogs are included in that. Oh, I was going to say, we're not allowed any of that music. For our friend and colleague, Alexandra Kommer Vermish. Apologise if I said that really wrong. Okay, nice. But that was a fun game. I don't want to skip it. I think we can make it go faster than cool, but all good. Fleur Marte. I like that. That's a nice name. Yeah. Well done, everybody. We architected. No, archaeology. What's the verb for doing archaeology? We dug. We dug well. Yeah. Martin Shank. Nice, that's a good name. Strong, sharp name, you know. Jeroen Mugenot. Nice. Wow, they only had 3 people doing the character art. There was a lot of characters. Although some of them could have done with some tattoos. Okay. Look at all those animators though. See, it's quite a lot for environment art as well. I suppose there's a lot more environment than there's characters. So, I think what we'll do is I'm going to have a quick little break, and then I think we'll maybe get started on the Guardians of the Galaxy game, and play that until maybe Bax is about, and then I think we're going to do some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm not sure if there'll be other people joining us or not. Either way, it'll be radical. It'll be cowabunga. Rad. I don't know, same as radical, but right out of 90 terms. Hey, Nanny baby! How you doing today, dude? How you playing, geezer? Glad to hear. Lovely. You've joined us at a great moment. We're just seeing all of the people that worked very hard to bring us this lovely game. It was called Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and it was pretty good. I mean, out of the other ones, I think, if I'm being honest, the first one out of the trilogy probably grabbed me the most. The second one was awesome as well. I don't really remember too much about the story, but this one was still good, but I think the others had already built up quite a lot of expectation. It's like, I don't know, I feel like the story in the other two I was a bit more gripped into. It's still a good game overall. If you've played the trilogy, if you played the other two, yeah, it's definitely worth playing this one for sure. And I'm doing grand, cheers, man. I just archaeologied the shit out of some people. I archaeologied this one dude right in the chest with a shiny knife. That was some pretty good archaeology. I also archaeologied myself across some rocks with a rope. That was some top-notch textbook archaeology. So yeah, been a good evening. Yeah. I'm thinking of getting into paleontology maybe at some point. I mean, I do have, what is it, Jurassic World Evolution? The first one? I don't know if the second one's out. I know they're making a second one. I've got the first one. I remember playing it for about an hour or two. Basically like a theme park, but for dinosaurs. Yeah. Oh, shit. Einan, please feel free to send me a Discord message to remind me to change over your details, because, yeah. I forgot, yeah. Got it. You low, son. A Super Bowl, yeah, Jesus, man. What did you do? Buy a donkey house? Get them. See, Einan still keep unranked. Actually, yeah, no, that isn't your custom one. Your custom one's just a custom Fizz rank, I believe. But out the blue, you're just a Fizz Junior at the moment. Once you get a few more hours behind you, you'll become more than just a Fizz Junior, don't worry. There's a whole evolution. Probably did buy a donkey house, I reckon, so... It's a type of dude, isn't it? A lot of credits. Oh yeah, shit. Well, my bot's been temperamental recently anyway, so song requests aren't on. I'll probably bang some songs on my Spotify during my break. But Kyle has sent me like a new bot I can use to like connect Twitch and Spotify, so you guys can request songs through Spotify instead. Request per user, cooldown limit, max song limit. Okay, doing myself some slides, but find a place to see what auto goes into the queue. Okay, so maybe I'll give that a try in a bit. Oh, you brought a donkey bungalow. Well, bungalows are the way forward, my man. If you don't live in a bungalow, you're a wrongalow. Fucking have it. That's just the truth. It's not an opinion. Oh yeah, the cast. So Camilla Luddington played Lara Croft. Do we know any of these voice actors? I don't personally. Yo, mate. Especially you. Special thanks to John Sebastian Cotte, Eva Avila, Lucinda Davis, Tristan Di Lalla, and Chelsea Goldwater. Oh, there's a lot of studios on this. Quote 967. I guess it's because I'm so innocent at heart. Fizzle explaining why he says uh-oh like a 6-year-old. No, you didn't. But maybe it's because you've broken his heart before, and so he was a bit scared to give it to you again. Music composed and performed by Brian De Oliveira. Mixed by Jera Crevo. Ambient music designed by Martin Stig Anderson. It's Martin Stig Anderson. Sounds familiar. Ramiro Ramirez. Go on, boy. Good name. Nick Levine. Famously Avril Lavigne's brother, obviously. Arsenal. I think football teams should just stick to football. Although Arsenal I can understand if they wanted to get out of that game and get them. Yeah. Last Christmas he gave it away on Boxing Day. Oh shit, okay. Glad I never gave my quote on why I say like a 6-year-old. Yeah, no. Yeah, yours is a bit weirder. Quote 217. We could definitely do a touch of package. Yeah, we do. I need to earn it. Oh, that's true. Ines hated me ever since I called him up for being poor. Yeah, man. He held a long grudge. Long grudge. I'm tempted to skip this, you know. But mainly because just air, as you can see, there's lots of fiery embers coming out. That's dangerous. This chair is flammable. In fact, I'm pretty sure like everything is flammable that I have. If you burn it high enough, right? I've got my aquarium there. That's glass. You can melt glass. Yeah, you can even burn the air. You can burn everything. Nothing's flammable, like inflammable. You know, everything's flammable. No, wait, inflammable means flammable. Maybe that's why there isn't a word for unflammable, because everything is flammable, just at a certain level. Aquariums are very flammable, yeah. Yeah. Make sure there's no smoke coming off it. I mean, we joke, but it is actually made of a lot of wood, and there is a lot of like filter electronics and shit. Super flammable. How flammable is the question? Have I got a lighter on me? Hang on. No. I left my lighter in the kitchen. Sorry, guys. I won't be able to tell you how flammable my fish tank is. I'm going to say about 8. Imagine walking into an apartment and seeing a fire isolated to your aquarium. Yeah, nothing else. Not the walls, not the picture hanging above it, or my PC system right next to it. Just purely the water. Not even a cabinet. From moderately to uber flams. I'd say more... What's the shit of the delivery groups? See, Deliveroo's pretty good round here. Uber Eats is shit. Just Eat is pretty shit as well. It's more the Just Eat of flames. Just flames, I'd say. Not quite Uber flames. Definitely not Deliveroo flames, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, there is a pier that burnt down in Walton. Walton? Fuck no, in Britain. In Brighton even. Oh my god, my head. Yeah, Brighton had a pier that burnt down. It's still there, I think, right? You got the one that you can go on that has the fun fair, but then just a bit down the coast itself. Yeah, good old burnt out pier. But you used to be able to see it at least. I'm pretty sure it's still there. Just the wind took it, maybe. The wind can be quite kleptomaniac. Ish. Sometimes it even tries to steal your breath away, like that's pretty savage. Where was I when Brighton Pier got burned down? I believe his official statement was that he said he was off planet. I don't know how he got him to believe him, if I'm being honest, but here we are. I guess off planet is same as out at sea. You're not on the planet, are you? You're in the water, not land. How can you really tell if the sea isn't actually part of the space? Yeah, technically everything's in space. Technically he's already off planet by being on this planet because he's off a different planet. I think it was something to do with his alluring eyes. He was like, I was off sea, I was out to sea off planet, and they were like, oh, okay. Couldn't have been Iron, he was out buying all that petrol and matches. Yeah, that's true. Plus, he'd spent the whole morning researching how to burn down piers. I don't see how he'd have time to do that and, you know, get there. I doubt there's any internet cafes in Brighton. Yeah. So, a lot of people made this game. It was a big game. That was earlier? Oh, okay. Fair. Quick Google search, see if any peers of burned down today. Ooh. The Instrument. Recorded at Sony Interactive Entertainment San Mateo. Oh, is that the name of the song? I guess it is. I just hope they had some like really cool, like, unique instrument that didn't even have like a name. They'd like made it or found it in like a tomb that they raided. I imagine they had to raid a lot of tombs to get good reference pictures for this game. Shout out to Sound Effects, Boom Library, Hiss and Roar, Sonis, The Recordist, Rabbit Ears Audio, and Tonsturm. Yeah. Cuviva el Santo, Manana, I don't know, Mi Voy, El Hombre, A las Orillas de la Concocha, Mi Marina Rebelde, It's Whippo y Su Banjo, Trio, Horapacacha, La Roncona, and La Bruja. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I'm pretty good at all languages. If I can pretty much read any of them as long as I've got English lettering. Yeah, it's really easy. Donde la esta la biblioteca mi amati bon la orenga discoteca. I was gonna say Yosuke Matsuda sounds familiar, but he's the president and CEO of Square Enix, so maybe that's where I've heard that name. I ain't heard of fucking Seb Odson Burferson though. What I have now? Oh shit. Kudos, Seb. Kudos. Oh shit, extreme edges. I'm guessing they're the ones that kept breaking whenever we jumped on them. Yeah, and that is That's what Blue just wrote. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect Russian. Frankfurter. I'm getting more and more tempted to skip these. Musk did say how you're meant to actually pronounce that god-awful name for a child, right? Let's say Zach. Yeah, that's how you pronounce that. That's a horrible name for a child. If that kid wasn't a billionaire, it would get bullied. Yeah, although if they weren't billionaires, they probably wouldn't have gone for such a dumb name. Oh shit! Just confirmed. Iron is Elon Musk's middle son. Yeah. That's how it works. Okay, we're skipping this. Right. Do you have a last scene for us, or we good?
I had it all wrong.
Get to play
I
on the slide.
thought that taking control of my life meant venturing out to do something extraordinary.
Don't tell me she's at home,
I
because
thought I had to
she
fix
said she was going to stay in the woods.
But the mysteries of the world are to cherish more than to solve.
Yeah, I need a pee.
I'm just one of their many protectors.
This is all the shit she's stolen.
I'm not sure what the future has in store, Jonah. But
Prison.
whatever adventure's on the horizon,
Your
I
faith.
can't wait to meet it. I'll try not to take
Hey, the
myself
butler!
too seriously.
Hopefully we can lock him in the freezer.
Tea, Miss Croft.
Why the fuck is she home? She said she's going to stay with the people. She said she wanted to stay with the people to get to know people. Like, you know.
For now,
And now she's just back home,
it just
ignoring the
feels
world of
good
her
to be
butler.
home.
That's a shit drawing, Lara. You could get better artwork. Sell some of the shit you sell and get a... Go steal a better picture! Like, that's terrible artwork. Terrible. You think it's pronounced X-A12? Really? You pronounce it Sha-12? Oh yeah, because of the X, it's like Sh... I...